allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Morning, everyone. Welcome. Okay, we'll start off. We've got the agenda ahead of us. Is there any additions, corrections, deletions? If not, we're in order for a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, we'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. With that, we'll go down next to the minutes from last Monday's meeting. Has everybody had a chance to review those?
Yeah, I didn't see anything.
I didn't see a thing either. And I'd make a motion that we approve the minutes from last, unless there's any additions.
Okay.
There was a lot on it.
There was a lot on it.
Yeah.
Oh, I do see one thing. Not that this isn't a big deal, but there's no signature lines at the
Oh.
bottom. They must have got cut off.
Oh,
so
okay.
I'll make sure to add those before I
Okay.
finalize them.
Okay. Okay.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, we'll get down to the first item of business is Manning Child Care Center fiscal 19 funding. Brad, Michelle?
You got extra chairs today.
Yeah, you can pull it.
It doesn't matter. Whatever. Get that comfortable.
Brad, if you want, you just soften up
Oh, I'm not gonna get too close.
Courtney, maybe you wanna move down there. He's there.
No,
This
that's
is so
okay.
bad, I don't wanna expose anybody to it, but,
I like my seat.
I think you all know who I am. I'm Brad Volstead. I'm president of the board of the Manning Child Care Center. I'm also on the board of directors of the Manning Betterment Foundation, which underwrites the cost of the child care, any shortfalls that the child care center has. The Betterment Foundation takes over those costs. And this is our fine director, Michelle Starman. And as usual, I want to thank you for affording us the opportunity to come and talk about the Manning Child Care Center. The Board of Supervisors has always been very generous towards the Child Care Center, and we certainly appreciate the past and hopefully continued support of our tremendous Child Care Center we have. I know that you are all aware how important child care is to the residents of the community and how important it is to the economic development of the community, and I'm guessing that's why you've chosen to support Manning Child Care Center and other child care centers in our county over the years. So, you know, over the last couple of years, we just completed a couple $100,000 expansion of our child care center, which gives us more room to take on more kids. You're all aware that, you know, the state governs how many kids you can have based on the size of your center. So, and the expansion of our center has also allowed us to have a large area for motor skills for kids. So when the weather's bad, they can come. They don't need to go outside. They can come into the center, and we've got a large area for them to release a lot of energy. So anyway, Michelle's going to talk about the center, so I'll let her go. If you guys have any questions, you can just feel free to ask anytime.
So just a few things. I do have an updated total. I don't remember, I had sent this back, you know, October, November. We pretty much have about 81 total kids enrolled. On an average, we have 50 kids through the door, whether before school, after school, you know, full-time, part-time. We provide care to 47 families.
How many
So
children now?
we have 81 total.
Okay.
And you know, those numbers on there probably at the time we do drop-in care. And so a lot of times if the parents have utilized us before but say they haven't dropped in within the last 6 months, we kind of pull their files. One, they're not updated, you know, at that point probably. Pull their files. So that's why the different number there, the 87 versus the 81. But an average of about 50 kids through the day. We employ 27. I have 12 full-time employees, and then the rest are either part-time or, college girls. They like to come home and help us over college break, which is nice because gives us a break then as well. So we just this past year, as Brad stated, the Manning Betterment Foundation, has subsidized us in the past. We recently took over our insurance premium, and we are paying half of that, which in the past, the Betterment had pretty much taken care of all of it. So we feel fortunate that we can, kind of start taking on some of those, expenses ourselves and not feel like we're relying solely on the Betterment. There was many years where it was, go to the Betterment every month, say, hey, can we get a loan? Can we get an operating loan or something? The other thing, our operating loan that we have through First National Bank, that is on, where is that? On the balance sheet, as of September 30th, it's that 2042. We actually just this past month paid down another $2,000 on that. I think we've done about $8,000 this past year, just paying that down, trying to get that. There for a while, we were paying interest only on those. So, obviously with you guys' support, that's helping us, get rid of some of our debt as well along the way, and and not passing it on to our families. We feel very fortunate this year. Our budget is on the plus side, and we're sitting about $10,000 on the plus side. So we don't feel that we're going to have to pass on a tremendous tuition increase to the parents. Like some years, it's been a couple of percentages, and so this year we feel like we aren't going to have to pass that on to our families and still show
You're gonna
them.
pass some on, just not as much.
Right, yeah. So that's a positive. We also have now incorporated a pay scale. So we are able to, instead of paying minimum wage to our full-time employees, we're starting them out a little bit higher, whether it's $8.50. If they have several years of childcare experience, they may be looking at, the $8.59. So that's been a positive, for the center as well, being able to
Being able
pay
to do
them
that, yeah.
more. And
How has your employee retainment been? Is it
now with
better?
having that, pay scale, this last year we incorporated that, we have, retained a lot of our regular employees. There for a while, it was like, oh, I can go work at, Casey's, or I can go work at the hospital for, $3-4 more. And it's like that we were losing a lot of staff to that, just for the fact of we weren't able to pay them more than minimum. So we've had a lot of positives. This year, as Brad said, we got our expansion done, and one of our big things now is looking at replacing the pea gravel on the playground. So, we're looking at all of those things. There's always something. So,
As I recall, that was a sizable expansion, wasn't it? Like
That was a couple, yeah.
couple $100,000.
yes,
Yeah.
yep,
Yeah, and we didn't take on any debt doing it either. It was
Well, that's what I
all-
was gonna say. I mean,
Oh,
that
it
is.
was all,
Yep.
yes,
grants,
through grants and
donations,
donations, mainly grants through the Main Street Manning applied for some big grants. So we were able to do all that. For the longest time, we wanted to do it for a long time, but we always thought it was a pipe dream because, there for how many years, we never made any money. In fact, the childcare center, or the Betterment Foundation had to subsidize us pretty
heavily.
heavily.
Well, and you're fortunate to have them
Yes.
as well.
To lead, yeah,
To help
yeah.
out.
And sitting with, not really a waiting list. It's more like our baby room, I'll have a parent that say, hey, we're expecting, put us on the list. You know, we have ample room now with that expansion to move kids from room to room a little bit sooner. Typically they move around their birthdays, you know, age-wise, but then it gives us that capability of moving them maybe sooner if we have the need, you know, for younger ones. And then, like Brad said, having that back room, that large motor room that they can go and run off that energy, especially this time of year, you know. Can't really get them outside when it's below 0, and starting through those, you know, January, February months, they get antsy, so
Right.
they can go and burn off that energy, so.
You know, because of the expansion, because of excellent management, and, you know, we're optimizing the number of kids that we got. You know, we're fortunate that the Betterment Foundation doesn't really have to subsidize us like they used to. They still do things like, pay half of our insurance, which, you know, we intend to pick up
all of that
pretty
down the
soon.
road, yeah.
But the biggest thing that Betterment, that the foundation does for us is, you know, we're in their building and we don't pay any rent at all. So it would be a struggle for us
Yeah.
Yeah,
if we
figure
had
it.
to pay rent, or, you know, anywhere near market rent for all the square footage we have in the Betterment Foundation's building. It would be a real challenge for us then. So, you know, we're very fortunate that the Betterment, you know, it was started by the Betterment Foundation, the Child Care Center, because, you know, they understand how important having child care center is.
And
for your
obviously,
community.
yeah, 50
In fact,
kids.
For most people that are looking to
could
go
absorb that?
someplace, it's probably about the first thing they look at.
Well, your balance sheet looks considerably better than last year.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really
That's-
is.
yeah, yeah. And a lot of that we switched. We used to have, like, say, a quarter-day rate, some part-time rates. You know, we have switched over to where parents either pay a 4-day rate or a 5-day rate. You know, so, and most of the parents are working now, where, you know, you get an occasional, say, somebody that works as a nurse, they may only work 2 or 3 days, but then that gives them a day to catch up too. So, you know, our kids are either 4 days or 5 days, you know, and they pay that weekly minimum, and it helps with staffing. You know, when we had these part-time rates, it was like, okay, well, my kid's only gonna be there 8 to noon, but okay, how am I gonna staff that? You know, it's one of those catch-22s, you know, then you know your full-time staff's gonna be there, part-time can fill in, and, you know, so it definitely has improved our, you know, budget and stuff that way to switch over to the 4 or 5-day rate, so,
Sure.
yeah.
And, you know, you mentioned our balance sheet looks good, and it's gonna look even better next year because, the city of Manning, we have a revolving loan fund,
Yep.
and we had 2 loans. We're gonna retire one of them in July of 18, and then they had agreed that they would forgive the other $25,000 loan. So when we make our last payment in this coming July, we're gonna get a $25,000 loan forgiven that we've had for a while, but we haven't
When
paid
it
anything.
started, yeah.
So
Yep, so.
that's gonna help us dramatically.
As Manning thrives, are you seeing more people come from like Audubon and Crawford and Shelby counties?
There's a few,
Yeah, I see you've got it in here the past 3 years. You approached the Board of Supervisors for Crawford County, but no success.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's-
I
With
did do.
25% of the enrollment coming from that county.
Yep,
Yeah.
I did do a breakdown. Carroll County is 68%, Crawford is 20%, and then Shelby and Audubon. You know, with the schools, you know, when they join,
Combined,
kind of
yeah.
down in that corner, we get a few Shelby and Audubon County families. Is about 12% of our, you
not a
know,
lot.
so it's not a lot. But yeah, we've approached Crawford County and
They're always very receptive, but they're never very generous.
not like you guys.
And you will be pursuing them again, I'm assuming.
Oh, yes, we
Atta
always
girl.
try. You know, and even looking at, you know, Shelby and Audubon, you know, our numbers have increased from there a little bit.
Yeah.
But, you know, not like the majority is, you know, Carroll County, so yeah, we, you know, try to go to them and see what they say. I guess all they can do is say no, so. But yeah, overall, the the center's definitely thriving, and, you know, we've got some really good employees, and feel that, you know, with support from the betterment, with the support from you guys and everybody else, we can continue to give them those pay raises that they deserve, and be able to retain those employees.
You know, we're fortunate that way. We have excellent employees, especially our, you know, Michelle, and our assistant director. And, you know, everybody at their child care center is overworked and underpaid. You know, we don't pay any benefits whatsoever, and not that much better than, you know, minimum wage for a lot of our employees. So, you know, we're very, you know, Michelle
Commitment.
provides a good work environment for people, and, you know, that helps with our retention dramatically, so.
And that's too bad, but that's the way it is with all daycare centers.
Right, yeah.
You're not unique in
Yeah,
any way.
no, so that's our big thing, you know, this past year, was making sure that we could get that pay scale set up, and moving forward, you know, continue to give them, you know, the raises, and not pass it on to the families entirely, you know. Cause, you know, some of those families that, you know, they'll walk in and they're like, these kids are my everything, you know, and they want good quality staff then as well. Cause if we don't have good quality staff, I hear it from the parents, and, you know, it just
Trickles down.
trickles down to everybody, so.
Yep.
But yeah, so, is there any other questions on balance sheet or anything? Abby Stengel does a great job on all of our reports for us, and keeping those on, in
Yeah, that's
order,
another thing.
and.
We're really lucky, we have a CPA that's on our board that gives us
Yes,
just
geez.
excellent
Yeah.
financial
Yeah,
reports.
so,
Just,
Yeah.
yeah, so.
I can't think of anything else, you guys?
No, I can't think of anything
No, I
else.
don't have any.
Very good.
Like
All right.
you know, like I said, we, you know, appreciate you giving us the opportunity to speak to you every year. We look forward to it, and, you know, we, you know, especially appreciate your past and hopefully continued support. We think we're pretty good stewards of your money, and we, you know, we don't just spend it foolishly, so.
Okay, thank you guys.
Well, thank you.
Very good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, have a nice
You betcha.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go down to the second item on the agenda is community concern fiscal 19 funding. Roxanne, Mary, welcome.
Good morning, Roxanne. Here's a chair here,
You
Mary.
can have this one, Mary.
Thank you.
You can have the soft chair today.
That's nice. That's what I took.
Morning, Mary.
Good morning, Dean, how are you?
Okay, go ahead.
Your new person with Agriculture.
Okay, Rich Ruggles, this is Mary Baumover.
Mary, glad to meet you.
Okay. And Roxanne Reinhardt from Community Concern.
Nice to meet you.
Roxy's our director and I'm president of the board.
Very good.
Okay.
Well, how have things been going?
We've been very busy. I guess we are gonna request some funding from you guys.
Mhm.
Where do you want me to start?
Just kind of
We
word,
serve,
just what you're doing and what's kind of going on, and kind of dovetail in there.
all right, we're a food pantry for Carroll County, and we also have the Extra Effort Fund. And the Extra Effort Fund kind of, serves people in Carroll County as well. And the food pantry has already served 732 families this year, and 2,323 people. Last year, we served 2,405 people, so we're gonna pass what we did last year already, because we have not had December in there. And we serve people about $350 to $400 worth of groceries when we give them. We want people to have emergency groceries if they're in need.
Mhm.
They come into us, they fill out an application if they're in need. We kind of do an interview, we make sure that they have everything they need when they are in need. If they need help budgeting at that time, we do that. If there's referrals to food stamps or other programs, we do that. We wanna make sure if there's things, other resources in the community, we wanna make sure they know where to go if there's other resources. The Extra Effort Fund, we actually work with the general relief program. If she's unable to assist them, she will send them to us and we work together with them. We do save the county some dollars because sometimes we assist in paying part of that bill if the county's unable to pay all of it or some of it.
And we find that she does send us quite a few, and she has quite a few restrictions, whereas we're an emergency group, and we help people. Our mission is no one goes hungry, and everyone goes out with some food and some help and some advice. So,
And with the extra effort, I guess, if the county's unable to pay a bill, we'll offer food or we'll do stuff with that way, but, do you guys have any questions? I guess I give this so often, I
Sure.
guess I'm not sure what.
Well, I'll say when I visited you last year, you know, and that's been probably last spring already, it's been a while. But I was very impressed with what you do down there, you know.
Thank you.
You know, you give the type of food that is needed for the individuals that come in. And although they request other stuff, more food that they would like to eat as opposed to what they should be eating. So I think that's
We give
That's a good-
balanced meals.
Yeah.
There's canned foods, boxed foods, frozen foods, milk, butter, eggs, fresh produce, bakery. I mean, it's gonna last 2 weeks to a month and get them through a true emergency.
right.
Do you have a breakdown in the out-of-city people that you might see, whether it's just county
We serve
residents?
Carroll County residents. If you're homeless and cannot provide us proof of residency, yes, we do help because.
You don't have a breakdown of the city of Carroll, the people that do come request the services?
it's,
Do you have a breakdown of?
On my sheets,
Is it
we do.
50%, or
I
where is it?
don't have it with me, but I do have, if you're a Glidden County, if you're Glidden, Breda, I do have it
Or
in my
rural
office.
resident, or what?
the majority is Carroll,
Mhm.
probably 60-70%. But
Okay.
as Roxy said, there are pantries in the other towns, but.
And we do, there are pantries,
Okay.
there are 2 pantries in Carroll, and
Okay.
we do serve, one of the questions on our application is, have you ever used any other pantry? And the majority of them, probably 95% say yes.
Okay,
But our pantry gives out a lot more food than those. We don't give out pounds of food per person. We give out 350, like I said, $350 to $400 value because we feel if you have an emergency, we really want to get you through that emergency. And we're also not a monthly program. We're not a quarterly program. We're an emergency-based program.
hopefully a one-time
Mhm.
procedure.
Yes, and we're gonna-
Sometimes it happens, but it have to be twice, but.
Yeah,
But-
and it could be 6 months' worth of
Mhm.
food. It depends on what your emergency is. If you've got a medical issue, it may be ongoing.
Yeah.
It just depends on what that
Okay.
emergency is. That's why we sit down and talk with you every time you come in. And then you're gonna have to bring a photo ID in with you and a current billing, and that will put you in Carroll County. But
Okay.
as I said, sometimes we have homeless people that come in that do not have proof of residency. We also do not want anybody to go hungry,
Yeah.
so they get a different type of a food call. And that would be a couple bags of food, which might be a loaf of bread and a jar of peanut butter and some crackers and some lunch meat or cheese or stuff they can eat in a backpack or in a car. A can of,
To survive.
yeah.
Can of soup ain't gonna help them.
No.
No, but they can eat it cold if they're hungry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Roxanne, do you work with any of the grocery stores or like Walmart? I sit on the
Yes.
landfill board and we were talking about the food waste and about 20-30% of the food that goes out of the grocery stores anymore goes into a landfill. And it seems kind of sad that happens, but if there's a way we can utilize that, it's something we need to look at.
We work with Hy-Vee and Walmart, and actually, the recycling center just bought us a refrigerator.
Okay,
And we are reporting pounds of food that we get from them from Hy-Vee right now.
good.
And they want to know how much waste is going to the landfill from them, and so far that's been 0.
Very good. At least it's going to a good home.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well, and
we
Walmart,
also,
Walmart's meat.
yes, we get bakery, meat, produce,
Mhm.
canned foods. They give us a lot.
Good.
Walmart,
Mhm.
yeah.
And
And
Hy-Vee
Hy-Vee.
also.
Mhm.
We also work with the group homes in town that if we don't have enough people that come in with emergencies, we give that to the group homes, so it doesn't go to waste as well.
Good.
How is the need right now as compared to the past? Is it
It's
greater.
growing.
greater?
And
It's
we're
growing.
seeing more working families come in, and they just can't make ends meet.
Yeah, already we've surpassed last year, or very close
It's
to it.
very close to last
Mhm.
year. Well, actually, if I would count December, it has passed last year.
Sure.
Mhm.
We still got 6 months to go.
Mhm.
Hmm, yeah, that's unfortunate.
It is. What I keep on my desk is a Fairway ad, grocery ads.
Mhm.
I shouldn't say one store, but I keep an ad, and I help people shop,
Shop.
and I make a list of things that they could eat for cheap price if they're having a problem budgeting.
Mhm.
And we make menus out for the week, and they're pretty grateful. And I have to say, when we give out Thanksgiving baskets, what we do is we'll call families up that we've seen on our file, and we'll say, you know, we just wanna give you an extra hand for the year we've been in, or you've been in, and we wanna help you out. And a couple of the families said, you know, we really appreciate it, but we're on our feet. Please give it to another family in need. We don't need it this year.
Mhm.
So that's kinda rewarding to know that they're not struggling anymore.
Good.
Do you want to talk about how extra effort helps?
Extra effort fund.
The extra effort fund is meant for people that fall through the cracks that government programs don't help, like car repair, medications that don't cover, but we've kind of seen more and more utilities come through. It seems like what we do is we go send them to the other agencies in town to see if they qualify for them first. And then if they get denial letters through them, then we want to see why they're denied. And
Well, that's a
then-
very good approach.
Well,
Yeah,
because
they don't
that's
need to be
tax
paid
dollars.
twice.
No,
Mhm.
and it's only fair to our donors.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we wanna have them use tax dollars before we use donated dollars first, and then we go through that application process. And then sometimes we offer food, in place of dollars, so they can use their own dollars and free up their grocery money to pay the bills. We do get a lot of, referrals from general relief to help.
Mhm.
So keep that in mind when you're looking at our request.
Sure.
So,
And you're, I mean, I know you told us last year, I guess I didn't see it in here, but your rent increased from what to what?
We paid 300 when we moved, and now we're paying 900.
And of course, our utilities correspondingly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we probably have 1 or 2 new freezers since last year, and they take up, in fact, we're going to have to have another one, we think.
Yeah,
Or get- I
we are
guess we'll-
getting a new one after the first of the year. A church is donating one.
Freezer?
Mhm.
And I remember I've got one.
Oh, okay.
That
I
I wanna
didn't
get.
remember that, but thank you for reminding me. I'm getting
We'll
older.
we'll make a space.
There you go.
Yeah.
You're welcome to come and see anytime.
Yeah,
We have- Glad to show you.
Very good.
anytime we would, and if you're busy during the day, we will open up at night. And we do open up if somebody's
Phone
working,
call.
they can call us during working hours, and we will open up at night to help them, because if they're already struggling, we don't want them to
Mhm.
struggle more by missing hours of work.
Mhm.
Sure.
Any other
Well,
questions?
I don't have any more questions.
I do not either.
Thank
You
you.
do great work.
I
Yep.
think we have a very good program for
Yeah,
anybody.
thank you
in need.
for the work you do.
Well, we thank you for your ongoing support. You've helped us for
Yes.
many years, and it does make a difference. We couldn't do it without every dollar we get.
Sure.
And we do run a tight budget. We don't waste any money that we get.
Well, we have a lot of volunteers, and
Mhm.
they help, and they donate, and
Unfortunately, you lost one this year.
Yes,
we
just
did.
recently, Thanksgiving. We
Our
lost two,
best.
actually, Wilbur.
Mhm, yeah.
No, that's right, yeah. So,
Thank
thank
you
you
so
for your
much.
time and
Thank you.
have a Merry
Thank you very
Christmas.
Yeah,
Merry
Anytime
Merry
you guys
Christmas
wanna
and-
come down.
I'll be down to see you.
This
Good.
building
worth-
is a
it's
little
worth
warmer
going
than the
down.
last.
We'd be happy to have you, Mr. Phillips.
Thank you.
Thank you, have a good day.
Mhm.
Okay, we'll go down to the third item on the agenda. Terry, Mid-Iowa Insurance, Commercial Insurance Renewal. You get that in your packet? Morning, Terry.
Morning, Jerry.
Take this chair anyway.
Yeah,
Another
well,
opportunity to.
Might get a new job.
God, no, sign him in. Sign him up. No. Get him right in the barrel. Start stirring him around.
Stir the pot. Hopefully you've had an opportunity to look through the summary of insurance coverages there. I'm not gonna go through everything line by line. It would take us quite a while, but I will offer, if any of you have any questions, you know where my door's at. I'll be happy to go through it with you, if you've got questions pertaining to that.
I have a
Sure.
snag already.
Mhm.
The Coon Rapids Fire Station on 4th and Main. It's the old, where the old ambulance used to set.
It's not the new address.
That is incorrect. We don't, the city does not own it. We don't store the ambulance there anymore. We store it in the fire station out.
Which,
I am on page 3.
Oh, I'm looking at, I can see it on page 7.
And then, yeah, so
Which-
I'm
which-
also on page 7.
Eight of
Location
eight?
8. Location 8. That, I believe, is no longer part of the city, nor longer part of us. We store our ambulance in the fire hall,
Okay.
which is out.
Oh, what is the
Olympic.
street name? No, that wouldn't be Olympic, that would be,
you saw page 7?
Yeah, it's on 7. He-
Right about,
he said it was
be
pretty-
Timber?
Okay, yeah, I got it on 3.
Yeah,
It's
7,
a
kind of
county
on the
highway.
page.
Yeah, it's,
Can't come with
Here,
it.
let me see it again.
It's fine, I'll look at it up and the address or call Daryl.
So what did we pay for when we had this location?
be Velvet Avenue.
Velvet Avenue, correct. It
He
is
gave
under
them
Velvet.
$1,200 a month for rent,
For rent?
and we're still doing.
Actually,
that.
I'd be on the
It's
Coon Rapids
it's
Street, though, the
currently
entrance
in
of
a
it,
different
isn't it,
building,
though?
and I
Okay.
just don't know.
Okay, so we just need to switch
Well,
locations.
Yeah,
Yeah, get
it
it
would
down.
be on
Is it
West
West
Street.
I'll get
Yeah.
West Street. So, yeah, that is no longer there, so I don't know where we actually have maybe 2 sites that we are covering, or 1.
Just probably one.
Probably one, you're just
Just the
gonna have
one,
to
yeah.
switch the address.
Yeah.
I'll get that for you,
Double,
and I'll just email it.
double check that one, Pete. And I did call this morning to verify that, and yes, they have already sold that building, so.
Okay.
It just caught my eye.
So
No,
it's-
good.
So it's really
Yeah.
just for the insurance on the ambulance that's located in that building.
Yeah.
It says auto
Yeah.
physical damage.
Yeah, so it won't change. Your vehicles are covered.
Right.
Irregardless of
Yeah.
where they're at. It just, we just, for,
Update the address.
Yeah.
yeah.
Just to make sure.
Yep,
Yep.
so that it would be a cost neutral.
Right. I assumed it would be.
Okay.
Sorry to
Any other-
interrupt you.
Oh, no, absolutely, no problem. Any other questions that you may have before we go through? And we will go through a number of these things, but if not, I'll start off by just saying, claims-wise, it was a very good year for the county. We recognized 3 small claims to the tune of about $1,549, mostly rocks coming off of hauling gravel, that sort of thing. So it was a good year.
What was that number again, 1,000?
$1,549 in paid claims. Now, there may be some out there that have not been settled or whatever, but those are what have been paid throughout the course of
Man,
2.
that is,
With an operation of
That's
3
nice.
years, that's not bad at all.
It's a great year.
So,
Yeah.
so that's good. A couple of things that ICAP is doing to kind of bring you up to speed, that ICAP is a member-driven organization, so we're always trying to look at ways to help improve the services that we're providing for our clients. A couple things, cyber liability. Many of you have probably heard all the horror stories about what's happening in that. We're working closely with our loss control department and like Carl Carl's already doing a number of things. I see Zach down there, and he does a great job working with your our loss control people. One of the things that they put out is that they'll offer this, like a phishing scheme. A phishing scheme is where they will send these emails out to the various people, and they will actually phish your organization. They'll come back and they'll say, Marty, you shouldn't have opened up that file. You didn't know where it came from, and they'll do that thing. Carl's already doing that, so he's.
Carl's doing it for us.
So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
those are some types of things that we're creating to try to help our members. I mean, there's no way to say that we can stop and prevent everything. I mean, the government can't. It helps, but there's absolutely no way to prevent everything, but we try to do as much as we can. And those are the things that help down the road. Another thing, they're working with an organization called LexPol. It is for sheriffs and police departments. They will come in and they will give training as far as operations or procedures. So to use a past example, when they came out with tasers, what should we do? How should we use them? What should our protocol be? So they'll help you go out and find what you should be doing and give you training if necessary. Cost is kind of up in the air to do these programs. They're looking at anywhere from between $15,000 and $20,000 for organizations. ICAP is trying to figure out a way to work that in so that we can do it at little or no cost. We may say, okay, we'll give you for half, but if you use it to its full potential, then we'll come back and we'll reimburse you for the full cost. Because again, ICAP is very proactive in getting you dollars to use to help prevent injuries. I mean, you get $1,000 every year, every department, or not every department, but everything member, so the county, the E911 board, the comm center, all those entities get $1,000 to use for safety type equipment. So again, this isn't following in those footsteps. They just want to get dollars in your hands to help prevent if we can. Pay for a claim when it happens, but if we can prevent it, that's a better scenario for everybody.
Yeah.
So.
Have you used ours yet?
We're using the courthouse one for better lighting out front, by the poles.
Mhm.
Those lights are.
And sometimes I think you've worked maybe in conjunction with other offices and put two or three together to get it to miss. And again, this is the second year we did it. It's already been approved for next year, so you'll have another $1,000 for next year, so we get on there. You can't believe how hard it is to give away $1,000. These people, a lot of them don't
Don't mess with it.
Yeah, we've still got a few counties out there that have not taken advantage of it, and every member county has been touched at least 5 times this year, and said it's there. All you gotta do is, it's 2 seconds, literally. You go on the website and maybe 2 minutes, and you can do it. But so anyway, if you want to flip to the summary page back on page 31, I hope I didn't give anybody a heart attack by when Lori sent this. If you look down to the bottom, your total premiums last year were $212,264, but you get a member credit of $25,169. I just received a text message while I was sitting there. They finally got the member credit approved this year, so you can plug in $25,565.08 will come off of there, which will make your total premium go from $187,094 to $176,386. So a little over $10,000 less. So
Thank you.
well, you can give it all away now to those other people that are doing it.
So, do we take the member credit off the 201,950?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And
There
what
w-
was that again, 25,000?
568.
$25,565.08.
565. Wait.
And I will get that to you, because I don't have that certificate, so I will try, that should come now that they've got it approved. It's a process, and I won't bore you with all the details, but every member that renewed in December has to pay their contributions before they can calculate that. And so we push those members to get them, and so, like I said, we've got that now. So the member credit, you can see, was about the same, but your premium went down because of the success that the program has had overall. And that's been going on. I've been saying for a long time that the rates haven't gone up since they created it in 1985, and now we've actually taken a reduction across the board, so you can see that. To give you an example, if you look in the middle of the page there, one thing that happened this past year was Northwest Valuations came out and did large building evaluations, and your property total went up, you can see almost $7 million. Part of it was Dave out the county, we redid some of his, we hadn't looked at some of the values on those. But it's ironic that Carol, and Greg Schreck needs some kudos on this, got the protection class from a 6 to a 4. And so even though you went up in value almost $7 million, your rate went down because the things that they do, better equipment, better training, better, water supplies. So the city of Carroll, like I said, went down. That helped your rate substantially. So you can see like your rate last year was $43,562 on the property, went down to $37,364, plus you went up $7 million. So it's a great thing that he did, and so a lot of people don't realize what kind of went on in the background. And it's the training that the people get. It's a whole calculation, and I'm not going to bore you with what goes into that. That's more for like cities, since it's the city that takes care of that. But they did the things necessary to get that reduction, and so it was a boom for everybody. And obviously with the courthouse and some of your significant higher value buildings in the city of Carroll, that helped you quite a bit. And I might add, that's one of the benefits of ICAP. Well, they provide this service free of charge. They come out there, and some people get worried that, well, we're going to increase your values. It's better to have things accurately. I mean, if this courthouse was destroyed, you want to be close, and you're under a blanket, so you really never be underinsured because you pool everything. Unless you lost every building in the county, you would never really be under. But we want to be accurate on what the building values are. Another thing that is in your packet, this is something we increased the limit some time ago, but right now you have a $5 million limit of liability insurance. And in this packet,
I don't know if I gave
Oh,
you a copy
I'm
of
sorry.
that, but I'll pass mine around and they can.
Okay,
look at it.
yeah, and I can share this with Marty, but what this is your $5 million limit is here. It shows you if you wanted to go from $5 million to $6 million, the additional cost would go from $201,951 total. It would go up about what is that? About $1,600 to add another $1 million worth of coverage.
Okay.
And you can look at 7. I will say the average county right now is at 5 million. If you take, I guess it's the median, if you take the top and the bottom and you come up with the average across the state for ICAP members, you're looking at 5 million. So you're right on the average. And we bumped this up, oh God, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I
I was
can't.
gonna say, I thought it got bumped up right when I first started.
How long?
Like, in this job, and that was 14, so.
Okay.
About 3 years ago,
Yeah,
probably.
so some time ago, we did bump that up, but like I said, it's this just shows you what we're at. You're at the average, so, I'm not suggesting anything higher or lower. I think you're probably where you need to be.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just, the adage I tell you is, you tell me what you're gonna do, and I'm gonna tell you how much insurance you're gonna need. It's just tough. I always say, if you run a busload of kids off the road with a county vehicle or something like that, you can't probably buy enough insurance.
yeah,
It's-
well, they're gonna
but
sue
you
for
can be-
what you got.
Yeah, well, that's true to a certain extent as well. I will give you this, Courtney. This is all the auto ID cards, and those are broken down by department.
Perfect, thank you.
So you just have to get them to the right people. And this is an envelope to send your contributions back.
I was
So
gonna ask you, do we need to, is this supposed to be the chairman?
that's the next question, that's the next thing on my thing. Every year, ICAP asks for a proxy. It simply means, the auditor is always the contact, along with, usually it's the chairman of the board. And so like last year, it was Neil or whatever. It can stay Neil, it doesn't have to be that, but usually we change it to whoever it is, but it can stay Neil or it can be moved to whoever. And what it is we take direction, we'll answer questions for anybody, but to take an official request, it has to be one of these two people. We don't want somebody, coming to us and saying, we want to change policy limits, and it's, somebody who's not authorized to do that.
Sure.
So that's the purpose of that. So you can, think about that, and whoever you want to be the proxy, we can put that
I think it's always been the chairman.
Yes, so,
Update it to
Yeah,
Jean,
Jean's
yeah,
chairman this year.
yeah.
so we can simply put that name on there.
And the address is Neil's house, so we'll have to
Okay.
update that too.
Okay.
And the cell phone again.
Okay, so if you wanna correct all those on there.
Change name on there and then.
And-
First, if we make you the chairman, then you only did it for a month, so
Yeah.
why don't we wait and do that after we name our next chair?
Well, that could be, is that a possibility too,
What's that,
if we
Courtney?
wait till
Don't-
January? and
Don't
then-
we?
We can change it at any point in time.
Okay.
Because
So-
we're signing we're gonna be signing this in the next few days, correct?
Right.
Okay,
You've got-
so then,
yeah,
then we
So
put Jean on.
so it's basically behind is what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Years,
we're gonna
years,
change-
yeah,
We may
yeah.
change chairs, we may not. but-
Yeah. So put Jean on it for this year.
So
Since
we're
he's-
gonna realize a, what, is $11,000 decrease?
Yeah, 10, a little over 10.
Yeah.
10 and a half, something like that.
Mhm.
That's great.
Yeah. This form simply just says that we went through, you've had a chance to review all the numbers and so forth, and you weighed higher limits, and so that needs to be signed and go in with it. And those all go in with that, and I will get you that voucher for that 25,000, like I said, when that comes
Does
in.
that member credit?
So am I able to
Yep,
sign both of
yep,
these?
yep, absolutely. Because you are that proxy, you are the lucky winner of being able to sign all that.
Winning the lottery.
Well, I'm not sure it's quite that good, but.
Courtney's the luckiest of them all.
Yeah. And this, depending upon when you submit your premium, this is a commitment. If you don't get it in by the renewal date, which is January 1, you can do this, and then they give you an additional 30 days to get it in by the end of
We
January.
have a bill day next Tuesday, so
Okay,
if I
then you
submitted it
won't-
by then, you
yeah.
wouldn't need to do that.
Nope. And so, like I said, but I'll give that for if something changes, and then you just send that in with your check along with that voucher that I have to get to you,
Okay.
and we should be good to go. And I will wait to hear from you on the correct address for the Coon Rapids location. And like I said, it'll take me a day or two to get that voucher together. So, any other questions? I mean, I rattled through this. I certainly do want to extend to all of you, the opportunity to come and go through this as in much detail as you feel you want to go through that.
I think my concern when I first got on the board was whether or not we're dropping some of these vehicles
Right.
down to liability. We're
Right, and we did
not paying.
do some changing on that.
Yeah, I think we did. So that was a good thing.
The department heads are pretty good about letting me
Right,
know.
and we have to, in an organization this size, we really put a lot of emphasis on your department heads, because there's no way we could go through, or Courtney could go through there
Sure.
and do it. I
Keep
mean,
it
it's just,
outdated.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's, and so we do ask, to share with them the importance of what they're doing. This is, like I said, I'm not, the addresses and stuff like that, I mean, we need to keep up on that kind of stuff, but, again, I understand that it's quite a beast you've got here, but we try to make sure we're staying on top of all that, so.
I have a workman's comp volunteer question.
Okay.
If I decided to volunteer my time and go out to the lighting that the ambulance puts on at
Mhm.
the,
Mhm.
at Swan Lake, and I slip and fall, get hurt, as a volunteer, am I covered?
Well, no, and that's a straight question. Work comp, by definition, is you have to be an employee. IMWCA offers a voluntary endorsement, which is unique in the industry, okay? So they're the only ones that offer that. There are some voluntary coverages under your liability that you can purchase to provide your medical payments to those folks that are not employees but are
Okay.
volunteering. Some of them do not do that. There's usually a charge. I think it's like $10 a volunteer with a minimum of $100. But the problem, for example, is, I'll use the city. If you do it, you've got to either include all your volunteers or not. The city runs into, okay, you've got volunteer coaches for Little League, it gets to be, all of a sudden, now you've got 1,000 volunteers.
Okay.
So now you've got $10,000 of premium. You're better off maybe self-funding that type of organization. I mean, we can sell you the coverage, but like I said, there's limitations on what happens in the endorsement with the work comp. Just keep in mind, by definition, work comp has to be an employee. So that's how you know, but we can add that on for the work comp as well with that $10 per thing with a minimum of 100. But again, I don't know how many volunteers the county would have. If you have like a cleanup day or,
Yeah.
you know, you could get very extensive. And then on
And
top of that.
keeping it current would be.
Well, and what you're supposed to do
enormous.
is, let's say you have a cleanup day, you know, at the Swan Lake or something like that, or the river parks and stuff like that. You're supposed to have a sign up and have, okay, we've got 30 people that signed up to do this, and have them, you know, sign up on that. Where a lot of these times, now there is some leeway, for example, when you have like a natural disaster, you know, if you had like the trees fall down in the cemetery, I mean, there was a lot of people that came and carried away branches and did some of that. So there's some things like that where, you know, they would waive the signing in because they need help. Like right now, we can't. But overall, the protocol is still the same, and the charge is gonna still be the same. So, I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, it did.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah,
pretty
and
much how
the lighting
I.
isn't put on by the county, it's just on county property.
Correct.
Yeah, so
Correct.
that's the only thing
Yeah,
I've run into.
yeah, I just, I thought I had it straight, I just wanted to hear it again.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for Terry? Okay.
Very good.
Thanks,
Good
Terry.
news.
Terry, good news.
You bet.
Yep.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas to you.
Yep, Merry
Yeah, same to you
Christmas.
guys.
Okay, is Family Resource, are they here yet or not?
I'm gonna have
Or should we do Chad
Tim
first?
Nichols here, so I don't see him, I don't know what he looks like, but
I
he's not
don't-
here.
okay.
Maybe let me off go
Yeah,
first.
we'll go ahead and keep moving.
Keep
Okay,
moving.
with that, we'll drop down to item number 5 is new opportunities, fiscal 19 funding. Chad?
Good
morning.
timing.
Good morning,
Good
everyone.
morning, Chad.
Moved
How
up
are
on
you
the
all?
Good.
Good, good. I feel like we're missing a few folks.
Yeah, like I said earlier, we get 40% less questions.
list. So you're on Easy Street.
Man, I don't know about that. Well, I'm here for our yearly
Thank you.
discussion of all the services we provide. It looks like you did get a copy of the proposal that I have, or the request that I've got. The handout that I just gave you really goes into a lot of the specifics of our organization. So if we look at just the very first page, these are all the different services that New Opportunities provides. Again, remember that we are a 7-county organization. We go all the way down to Dallas County and Waukee, then all the way up to Sac County and Calhoun and Rockwell City, up in that area. Of course, the Carroll County monies do stay in Carroll County. That's always an important thing. And we do ask all of the counties to help contribute and to help with the services that we provide. So these are all the different things that we're doing here in Carroll County. If we go to the next page, it gets into a lot of our Family Development Center. Now, our Family Development Center, of course, is a part of New Opportunities, but it's like a smaller office that provides all these really specific services, such as LIHEAP, which is your low-income heating, energy, and assistance program. This year, we're at 564. We've got utility conservation education, utility customer advocacy, and you can just kind of go through and look at, you know, all the different services we're providing. You know, down towards the middle of it, it's the Toys for Tots, the back-to-school supplies, and all those kinds of things. But down the bottom, you know, we of course want to remind you what a viable business we are, that we are certainly a part of Carroll County, that this is the amount of money that is going out for low-income families for LIHEAP. You can look at the total number of individuals that were served in 2017, 1,836 for those services that are above. That is about 200 more individuals than what we did last year. Heard you talking about volunteers. We've got lots of volunteers as well. We just had a situation when we had a volunteer get hurt last week in the wind. And so we're going through our liability insurance is what we're doing. So that's how, but we've got workman's comp, of course, and all that as
Yep.
well. But so we have lots and lots of volunteers. These are just Carroll County statistics, again, just Carroll County. Down towards the bottom, you can see that we've got 57 of our employees are located, live here in Carroll County, which is 1.6 million. If you do the math on that, which I always, you know, think that's an important thing, it's an average salary of about $29,000 is what we're paying our employees. That's an average salary. So,
I just got a question, on the bread distribution.
I
is
looked at that, too.
It's just such a bigger much bigger number. Is it easier to qualify for that, or
It,
is it just?
it actually is, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And anyone within our services can have that. And it's also something that you can come in every other day and get bread if you want to.
I see.
We've got a phenomenal relationship with Hy-Vee and also Walmart, where they're donating a lot of their leftover items, which is a super thing, so that we can get those out to low income. Like a food pantry, you can only, we only have a food pantry go out approximately every 30 days. Whereas the bread, I should say, you can get that every other day or every day if you would really need it. But, so that's why the numbers are very high. That's a good question.
So is that, when you say that it's coming, like say from Hy-Vee or Walmart,
Mhm.
is it bread that's
Getting very, very close.
getting close?
Very, very close.
Expiration
We do not distribute any food items that are out of date per se. When an item gets to out of date, we put that in a special grocery cart in which, families can take it. For instance, like when you buy meat, when you buy frozen meat, it'll say, must be frozen or used by, January 1st. You can still eat that meat January 10th and February 10th. It's just that the stores, they can't sell it after that date, and so that's why they would give that to us. Moving on then to the next the next page here, looks like this. It has to do with the individual information. Just kind of I do this every year. I'm giving you the individual statistics with, of the family types, how many are single, how many are female with children, how many are male with children. Just kind of going through all the different statistics that are out there in Carroll County. We still are working with, a lot of folks who are what we consider the working poor, which means that they're working. I mean, they've got jobs, but they're still not poverty level according to federal guidelines. And so they're still able to do some of the different services. We do have a few people in Carroll County who are, at that $8 an hour, to even, $9, $10 an hour. And that's, they're able to pay the bills for the most part, but it's still tough. It's still tough to make a living. And so that's why these services that we provide, we do a lot this last year, guys, with financial literacy. We love our financial literacy program. That's where we're helping our clients form a budget, stay on a budget, and then how do we improve their situation? How do we get them off our services? That's the biggest thing with new opportunities, is that we're trying to figure out on a daily, weekly basis, how do we get folks off of our services so they can stop coming back? We don't want folks to keep coming back month after month. That's why we do a lot with resume building, cover letters, getting people back to DMAC, all those different kinds of things.
So how successful is that?
Actually, I don't have the exact statistics. We're starting to track that right now. And it's going to be difficult to track because some of the folks we're working with are transient, where they're going to different counties and different things like that. But I know, like with our food pantries and those kinds of things, I would think 50% we're able to keep moving on. We do have a fair amount of population that are veterans and elderly who, we're just not going to change their situation. But I would say at least half of our clients we're able to work with, we're able to get them different jobs, we're able to help them. That's the thing that we like about being, this front page, this one-stop shop. We provide all the services. When you come in for a service, and you might think you're coming in, and you are coming in for, let's say, a substance abuse evaluation. Maybe your spouse has been upset or concerned about your drinking or whatnot. Of course, this isn't true for you, but in that situation, we're going to do an assessment to find out, your whole situation. So we want to know if you're using tobacco, are you interested in stopping tobacco? Can we get you off of that? Are you making your payments for your heating bill, your electricity? And if you're not, how do we help you with that? I tell you those couple of items there because they all have to do with your financial situation. If we can have you stop smoking those two packs a week, you'd be amazed at how, you can save $80 to $100 a month just on stopping cigarettes alone. But that's pretty hard to do on your own. And we've got programs, we've got different things we can do to get you off of that. But that's all a part of coming in for that alcohol, let's say, evaluation. But we're able to look at all these other situations and then hook you up with all these different programs that we've got with the idea that we can get you out. We want to get you out within a couple of months if we can.
How you doing with the reference to D-Max? Are you getting people to
We
move that
have,
direction?
we certainly have. we
Because
have.
there's a huge need out there for skilled labor.
Yes,
Uh,
there is, there
and-
totally
And
is.
it's a crying shame, there's
Yeah.
good jobs out there.
Yes, there is. No, Joel's got great staff down there, did a
Yeah.
good job with us. Joel himself, as the provost, has met with us many times. We've got many joint adventures that we're doing, and we're liking
Good,
them. We're
good,
liking them.
good.
Yeah. And so the next page, which is kind of the green in color, these are the referrals that we're making. Now the green, the ones that are green, we're actually referring to ourselves. So those numbers that in the situation I just talked about, you come in for, let's say, substance use evaluation, but you want to learn more about financial literacy, well then you can see where we would refer you into our own financial literacy program. But then, of course, the others, the child support recovery, community of concern, Department of Human Services, you can see where we're working with lots of the other organizations. We want to be that team. We're a team here in Carroll County, and how do we work well together? How do we make sure that folks are getting the relief and the help that they might need? So, last year, we asked for $11,935 for our prevention grant, and I'm looking at that second paragraph down. $13,000 for our Family Development Center, and then $7,000 for our substance abuse treatment program. So if you add all that up, it is $32,000. That is the same dollar amount that we've requested since 2010, and we're very glad to be able to continue to ask for the same. We're really working hard to not increase our expenses, and we're trying to keep things at a minimum. We know the county's at the same level as us, is just trying to make it all work, and so we're really pleased about that.
Just saying hi.
How you doing, Bill?
Hi.
Everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Thanks for the chocolates, Bill.
Yeah.
We very, very much appreciate Eugene Miners. He continues to be our board president. You guys, he is a phenomenal volunteer for us. He attends at least 2 to 3 meetings a month for us. He's always there on time. He's always there. One of our most counted on board members, and we really appreciate his expertise and keeping us on track. He does a great job for us, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think I only had to cover for him once.
Yes, that is right. That's right. You're welcome. All of you are welcome to come out to any board meeting. We'd love to have you, so. So any questions you might have? Good. We've got really
No,
great programs.
It's interesting to see, I guess when I first got on this board, I was concerned about the duplicity
Mhm.
of different programs, so that,
Yep.
I mean, if anybody can't find help, it's their own fault, because there's definitely a lot of help out there
There
for
is a lot.
individuals.
There is a lot of help. We've worked really, really hard to not be duplicating services. So, I mean, 98% of the programs that we offer, no one else offers in this community. When we see a new grant out there, when we see a need that's out there, if someone else is providing that service, well then, we either call them and say, hey, are you aware there's some additional money, some additional grant monies out there that you might want to apply for your program, or we stay away from it, of course, because there's no need for multiple organizations doing
The same thing.
The same thing.
Yeah, and textile is going out twice.
Agree. Yep.
Any other questions or comments
No.
for Chad?
No, I really appreciate
Well,
it.
We'll
Yeah.
keep
thank
in
you
touch
all
with
very
you.
much. Nice
Thanks,
to see you.
Chad.
All right.
Have a
Thank you
Merry
all.
Christmas.
Chad.
Yep,
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas to you.
Okay, do we want to go down and do, Barb, do you have anybody else coming?
No.
Do you want to come up next?
Sure.
You got room for you? Morning, Barb.
Good morning. May I
Morning,
have a
Barb.
saucy?
You can.
Yeah, yep.
Thank you.
I guess we have one new member. I don't know, Rich, if you've met. This is Barb Hackford from the Historical Society.
Barb?
Good to
Glad
meet
to
you.
meet you.
So, welcome aboard.
Cold hands, warm heart.
That's right. Nice and chilly outside.
The
Tis the
wind was
season.
miserable this morning. No, I left you a mess of papers.
Yep, we've got that in our packet.
The Rocks of Ages eventually is going to be a pamphlet. sort of affair. The idea with that was to make people aware of the various rock structures, the fieldstone structures we have here in Carroll. So we've had an interesting year at the museum. We had an open house again at all 4 sites. We've had some successes, like the new roof on the barn that Swan Lake did.
Yep.
And that is certainly a blessing. I dust once a week, whether it needs it or not now. It doesn't rain in at all, so that is very nice. It protects the artifacts upstairs, if nothing else. The things that I had on the drying rack actually needed to be on the drying rack after a rain. So it was good we had a couple dry months in there. So the main problem has been is that we've decided that we need to go after some better storage in the museum. Right now, the things in storage, the things that cannot be put on display because they're fragile or whatever, or we have no place to display them, are in boxes. And you know, every time the box I need is the one on the bottom. And we're starting to look into some regular museum storage, the kind that has the drawers that pull out. And we've not had much success. I had contacted one company, and that has not been a good experience at all. So we're going to keep working on that. We really are short of space, and I don't think a storage unit is the answer either. So it's the main thing I think that we're looking forward to.
So if you get these storage units, do you have room for them?
Well,
in the-
right now where the boxes are, it's upstairs in the back office, so that's a lot of space. And then downstairs in the west room, we're storing a lot of newspaper in tall things, a lot of old newspapers. The Carroll Herald is one of them, but we've got some of the German newspapers too that are bound. And on top of that storage unit, there is a little bit of space there. So, no, we're short on space, period. But we're gonna try to make it work somehow. I don't like boxes standing around, you know, in the display areas, which we've had in the